The Articles of Confederation were adopted by the Continental Congress on November 15, 1777. This document served as the United States' first constitution. It was in effect from March 1st, 1781 until 1789. Granted, it took effect while the U.S. was in a pretty broken state. This was before a fully fleshed out government was in place that could reside and take control of the 13 colonies and make it one country. The Articles were merely assembled as almost a stand-in set of laws that would govern the loosely held together country for the time being. Due to the youth of the new country and the weak residing government, the Articles of Confederation were inherently weak. In this video, we will explain what the Articles of Confederation were, how they influenced government, and how they were weak leading up to Shays' Rebellion.
As the precursor to the Constitution, from 1781 to 1789, the Articles of Confederation created an initial base for what would soon become the main building block of the United States. Think of it as a temporary glue that held the states but underneath a single government for a short amount of time. It was created as a quick way to introduce a simplified version of what our government would eventually be fleshed out to become, and establish the functions of our temporary national government after declaring independence from the tyrannical Great Britain. Essentially, it served as a link between the initial government, the Continental Congress, and the federal government, which was under the United States Constitution of 1787. However, the link was very weak. The Articles of Confederation created a government that had a weak central power and led to the states holding most of the power within the government, including deciding their own foreign policy. With the states holding the power, it provided easy separation between the ideas of the states rather than a central government keeping everything together. Despite the many weaknesses within the Articles of Confederation, they were largely necessary for the evolution of the United States. For example, one thing the Articles of Confederation assisted with the most was territorial expansion. One of the major accomplishments that happened under the Articles of Confederation was the Northwest Ordinance of 1787. The Northwest Ordinance of 1787 established the fundamental pattern of evolving government in territory north of the Ohio River Valley. It allowed for the introduction of new states into the Union from the territory and listed a Bill of Rights guaranteed in the new state. This is one of the few things that the Articles of Confederation provided to the newly formed United States, but many would soon see their weaknesses.
The Declaration of Independence had many influences on the Articles of Confederation. Even though the Declaration of Independence was made before the Articles of Confederation, the Articles failed to fully reflect the ideas within the Declaration. The Articles of Confederation provided the nation with instructive experience in a self-government under a written document. However, this also means that the Articles created a loose confederation of sovereign states with a weak central government, leaving most of the power within the state governments. In addition, Congress commanded little respect and had no support from state governments, anxious to maintain their power. This meant that Congress could not raise funds, regulate trade, or conduct foreign policy without the voluntary agreement of the states. The need for a stronger federal government soon became apparent and eventually led to the Constitutional Convention in 1787. The convention convened in the State House in Philadelphia in Independence Hall on May 14, 1787, to revise the Articles of Confederation because disputes between states over territory, war pensions, taxation, and trade threatened to tear the country apart. The United States Constitution that emerged from the convention established a federal government with more specific powers, including those related to conducting relations with foreign governments. This new and revised Constitution that was developed also provided the three branches of government: the executive, legislative, and judicial, which are still in use in our government today. The separation of powers ensures that power would not be concentrated in one particular branch and makes sure that states do not have too much power in relation to each other and the federal government.
With the passage of time, Weaknesses in the Articles of Confederation become apparent. Congress commanded little respect and no support from state governments anxious to maintain their power. Congress could not raise funds, regulate trade, or conduct foreign policy without voluntary agreement of the states. The Articles of Confederation could not force the delegates to attend meetings. This led to many lazy delegates. The Articles of Confederation had no central leadership. The Articles didn't allow Congress sufficient authority to enforce provisions in the 1783 Treaty of Paris, which allowed British creditors to sue debtors for pre-revolutionary debts. The federal government lacked the funds to gather and send troops to New England. The Articles of Confederation explicitly stated a national militia was forbidden. The Articles had no national court system or judicial branch, and if there were changes that needed to be made, the idea must be unanimous for the change to happen. Shays' supporters infiltrated the federal legislative branch and attempted to put down the rebellion. Led by Daniel Shays in 1786, the rebellion demonstrated the weaknesses of the federal government under the Articles, and it could neither raise the money nor pay the veterans to bring down the uprising. The national government could not tax citizens directly, only request money from the states.
Although the Articles of Confederation were not put into effect at the best of times, the downfalls and weaknesses that were revealed from it helped pave the way for better and more sustainable systems for the United States in the future. On paper, the Articles of Confederation first appeared as if it would have much power, but in reality, its powers were very limited. The main weakness was the power of Congress. The Articles did not allow the Congress sufficient authority to regulate commerce of the 1783 Treaty of Paris that allowed British creditors to sue debtors for pre-revolutionary debts. In addition, the Articles of Confederation gave its too much power to the states, which led to a dissociated political body in the United States. In short, the Articles of Confederation was a weak government due to the fact that the three-branch system was not yet implemented. That problem was glaring because the states could essentially do whatever they wanted without being regulated by any other political authority. These powerful states led to lazy delegates, and in the end, the Articles of Confederation couldn't work as a government. The weakness of the Articles led to many changes in government, but the first catalyst needed to happen. Since Congress couldn't regulate trade, the economy was very weak. This made many fear that their country was on the brink of economic collapse, which led to Shays' Rebellion and consequently the Constitutional Convention that formulated the current Constitution of the United States of America.